This gaming PC costs $900 and you can find it at Walmart. I know you might be thinking this thing has got to be a potato, but don't start boiling, mashing, and sticking it in a stew just yet, because we watch this thing cook in the best ways possible. Thanks to CyberPowerPC and NVIDIA for sponsoring this video. We're going to tell you all about our experiences with the Gamer Master right here, right now on Robeytech. Let's put all the cards on the table. Buying or building a PC can be expensive, and there are always things that can push costs higher. So when we see options that lower the barrier for entry into the world of PC gaming, we're here for them. And that's what CyberPowerPC has done with the Gamer Master series gaming desktop. It's a modern platform with components that, out of the box, provide a lot of opportunities for the tight of budget. And we know a thing or two about stretching dollars with builds. I mean, we've built a budget rig or 20 over at Robeytech Live. But building a machine doesn't equal using it as a daily driver, and we were impressed by the experience we had with this PC. So we're gonna share some of those discoveries and talk about some of the technologies that help the sub $1,000 PC punch above its weight class. As we get started, we wanna say a huge thank you to both CyberPowerPC and NVIDIA for sponsoring this video overview. As we get to know it better, think of the Gamer Master series from CyberPowerPC as a min-maxer PC. Their focus is to provide as much power as possible for around $1,000. Now, you'll find models above and below that $1,000 threshold, but never above $1,500. And actually, as of the time of recording this video, the most expensive Gamer Master desktop we could find was around $1,300. As we mentioned in the intro, this specific model cost around $900 or $899 to be exact, which is great news if you're on a tighter budget. What that gets you is an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5060 GPU, an AMD Ryzen 5 8400F CPU with a fairly basic but CyberPowerPC branded air cooler. It's got one 16 gig stick of RAM, more on that a little bit later, a 1 terabyte PCI Gen 4 NVMe drive, and a 600 watt power supply. It's all wrapped up into a showcase enclosure, which actually includes reverse fans for intake. Overall, not too shabby for the price, and yes, we did try to price out our own similar rig, which you'll actually be able to watch us build in the near future over at Robeytech Live. While the parts in our recreation weren't exactly one-to-one, the pricing was incredibly close, especially when you add in the price of an operating system, the cost of actually building it, and the peace of mind that comes with a warranty and tech support. But really, the thing we need to see is this: what kind of potential does a PC like this have? Now let's start with gaming, because that's at the heart of what we're looking at here. I mean, gamer is in the name and series twice. We took a bit of a different approach with this overview, since there are a million different games that we could absolutely test, and I've probably started more than half of them. Now, we landed on 3 different titles that a handful of us over on the Robeytech team have actively been playing lately: Doom: The Dark Ages, Diablo IV, and Marvel Rivals. Now, we did this because we know these titles really well, and you know what? They're pretty diverse. Minus the whole demon slaying bits, which really does bring people together. And no, I'm not calling Jeff a demon. You leave him out of this. Now, for our experience when testing each game, we let the engine decide what was optimal for our configuration and then spent time playing at 1080p. Now, if you're hearing 1080p and thinking 1080p, gross, remember that according to the Steam hardware survey in July of 2025, over 54% of gamers are playing at 1080p, and it is the dominant resolution in esport titles. And you know what? Overall, the experience was wildly good. And that was without tweaking any settings, and that was before we even introduced DLSS or multi-frame generation into the mix. At native settings, Doom averaged 81 frames per second with visual settings on high. Diablo IV averaged 98 frames per second with view distance set to far and visual presets on ray tracing medium. And Marvel Rivals, with low presets to mimic what esport players use, averaged just below 150 FPS. Keep in mind that these visual settings, with the exception of Rivals, were actually higher than what the engine set them to by default. So there is room for tweaking on either side of the default if you want to play around, which honestly, that's not too shabby. Now, we noticed an improvement when we started adding DLSS into the mix. With the same visual settings as our native test, when we flipped DLSS to its quality mode, Doom: The Dark Ages averaged just shy of 105 frames per second, Diablo IV averaged 113, and Marvel Rivals averaged just below 164. Again, not too bad. But there's another layer of performance that's available if you really want to take advantage of what NVIDIA's DLSS 4 has to offer. But before we talk about our multi-frame generation experiences, what is DLSS 4 and why should you care about it? There are some tall technical weeds we could absolutely get lost in, but here are some of the surface level things that help this $900 PC really shine. First off, let's talk about DLSS itself. As the number implies, this is the 4th generation of NVIDIA's deep learning super sampling technology. You'll usually hear DLSS talked about under the blanket term upscaling, which is part of the story, and there's a whole lot more going on here. DLSS uses trained AI models to render gameplay at a lower resolution, then bumps that up to your display's native resolution. Meanwhile, in the background, the RTX 5060 inside here is evaluating everything happening in game. The previous frames, the motion, your action as a player, all to create higher frame rates and better image quality. But there is actually more. DLSS 4's new Transformer Super Resolution model builds on top of this by enhancing detail in motion, smoothing edges, reducing ghosting, and generally offers more stability than the previous model. This model also reduces the VRAM usage with DLSS frame generation and multi-frame generation, which we should actually talk about since CyberPowerPC's Game Master is operating far above the 60 FPS threshold that you want to see before using multi-frame generation. So now that we know that we can use MFG, here is the leap in performance we saw on Doom, which jumped to 271 frames per second. Diablo IV averaged closer to 338, and Marvel Rivals averaged just below 393 FPS. In each of these titles, DLSS 4 multi-frame generation is generating up to 3 additional frames per traditionally rendered one, and then smoothly pacing them into the visual pipeline. What you end up with is a gameplay experience that looks and feels like butter, and you know it's going to feel great because it's above at its native resolution, that 60 FPS threshold. Now, I know some people have strong opinions about multi-frame generation, and to each their own, but remember, this is a $900 system. This kind of gaming experience used to be limited to the elite. And as someone who loves to see more people getting into PC gaming, I'm here for more people having amazing experiences, no matter how the frames are actually created. Oh, and speaking of creating things, did I happen to mention that the gameplay you're seeing in this video was captured while gaming on this system? Thanks to the RTX 5060, we're able to use the NVENC encoder for game capture. But if we wanted to, the RTX 50 series was also capable of AV1, encoding and decoding, as well as support for the 4x2x2 color space. It also did really well in creator applications and in productivity. I don't want to overhype this, and I know this isn't a review, but we did start hitting the RTX 5060's limitations while trying to use our GPU for video encoding while gaming at high visual presets running DLSS and frame generation. However, let's say you were looking for a gaming system that's also capable of streaming and creating content. This system is definitely an entry point. That's not just conjecture, we actually tested it too. Our lead writer Damien took a spin using this rig for live streaming, running OBS, recording video, and gaming all at the same time. And really, that's the thing that is really cool about the CyberPowerPC Gaming Master PC. It's a budget-conscious system that opens a whole world of possibilities, and it offers some really easy ways to enhance what's already inside, like adding in an additional stick of RAM or throwing another NVMe drive inside of the motherboard. So let's say that everything you're hearing about the Gamer Master system ticks the right boxes for your needs and your budget, but you're still asking whether you should build your own or buy one of these. Now, there isn't really a wrong answer here, but what we will say is this system comes with CyberPowerPC's 1-year parts and labor warranty, as well as lifetime tech support, and you don't get that with PC DIY. While we have a great community of helpful people here at Robeytech, there is something about having peace of mind that a warranty and access to support gives you if something were to go wrong with your PC. So that's the 50,000-foot view of CyberPower's PC Gamer Master PC. And overall, this $900 PC really shines thanks to NVIDIA's GeForce RTX 5060. Between gaming enhancements like DLSS 4 Transformer, multi-frame generation, and the encoding capabilities, this is the little rig that could, if the question you're trying to answer is if you can get a solid PC for gaming and more on a budget. As we wrap this one up, we want to say a huge thank you to both NVIDIA and CyberPowerPC for sponsoring this video. If you want to learn more about the Gamer Master, make sure you click on the link in the description. Or if you want to discover more about the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 50 series GPUs, about DLSS 4 and multi-frame generation, or learn more about the systems from CyberPowerPC, we have links down in the description as well. But hey, we want to know what you think about this rig. If you're in the market for a budget gaming PC for yourself or someone else, what features stood out for you. And if you're a seasoned PC DIYer, what advice would you give as an upgrade path for someone who bought a PC like this? Let us know all that in the comments below. Now, while you're down there, make sure you slap that subscribe button, whip that like button, and ring that notification bell so you get a notification each and every time we post a video like this right here on Robeytech. And if you want to ask more questions, continue the conversation, maybe see if this is the right option for you, head over to our Discord server, discord.gg/Robeytech. Amazing place to meet other tech and PC enthusiasts and talk about these very same subjects. Also, make sure you follow us at Robeytech absolutely everywhere. Thank you so much for making it this far in the video. We look forward to seeing you on the next one.